My name's Josh.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Eddie.
And welcome to the Fields and Four Wheels podcast. Kids, this is episode number
4.
4.
We're on 4 already.
Maybe.
They've been going by pretty quick.
Yeah, they have been flying. Last time we had Angela on here and things spun right by like crazy.
Yeah,
We had trouble getting Angela out of here, right?
Yeah.
It was definitely a fun episode.
He loved it. I mean, once he got comfortable with it all, he was game. He just wanted to keep talking and talking and talking. He could have talked all night with us.
Yeah, I thought so too. He's like, I'll come back. I'll come back.
Yeah. So we'll have to have him back sometime.
Real quick on the guest side of it, we did talk to a gentleman today that we're trying to get a couple more guests, and maybe he can come in and give us a little bit on the equipment side of things.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see. He kind of hemmed and hawed, but yeah.
He seemed pretty good about it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can get him out.
Yeah, we'll see. So let's talk about our week. That's how we start every podcast. So Ethan, how was your week?
Just working all week. Been busy at work. A lot of things to be working on, getting ready for summer. Springtime.
Anything exciting or anything cool?
Nothing exciting. I mean, it's the same thing every day. These warmer days have been out pressure washing some equipment. So when we go to work on it in the springtime, it ain't, on the street we ain't fighting.
What are you pressure washing off that? Mud or
oil?
Sand?
Mostly it's oil. Most of our equipment stays on, we're all on the road. So it's a lot of paving and a lot of digging sub sidewalks. So I mean, our backhoes get some dirt on it, but you're really not washing off mud. You're washing off grease, oil. It just,
Well, if you fix the oil leaks, make sure you don't.
well, we got some older equipment, and by the time you just,
Well, if you pressure wash them, you'll be able to find the leaks too, right?
well, I don't think anybody's ever pressure washed these. Now that they got this young guy on there, now I'm pressure washing. Everybody loves it that I pressure wash everything.
It's good for you.
So the good, nice weather was nice for you.
It was nice. It was nice.
Abs, how did your work week go? Last week I don't think we brought up because now this is week 2 of the.
Oh yeah, big truck.
Big trucking school. How did the work week go for you?
Well, I started off Monday, picked up a brand new John Deere 6120 tractor.
And how come you didn't just drive that right back on over here?
I wish I could. I mean, it does go pretty fast, 27 miles per hour.
That's awesome. So you picked that up on Monday. When did you go to a trucking school at all this week?
I did. I went Wednesday, I parallel parked, back line back,
Backline back. Okay.
backing,
All right.
and then some other stuff, drove a little bit.
So did they get you out? Obviously, with that, did you get a chance to go out and run? Down roads. You've been on the
Yes.
road.
My very first class, I went right out on the road.
And your issue shifted and things like
I
that.
mean, it's an adjustment with double clutching, but
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
What are you driving? What kind of truck?
A Mac.
A Mac.
We run a lot of Macs at work.
It's
What
a nice truck.
What do you have for? What kind of trailer are you running behind
It's
you?
a box trailer.
So just a
regular. That's
is
what
it
most
long
of
or
the classes
short?
Probably a medium size, right?
Yeah, medium size, not too big.
How'd you do with parallel parking?
Not too bad. The guy walked us through it and everything like that.
Okay, so you got a good instructor then.
Very good instructor.
Have you got your first tattoo yet? Now that you're the trucker.
No, Josh.
All right. So, picked up a new tractor for work on Monday. Wednesday you were trucking.
Yep.
Is it just one day a week that you're running down there?
Next week I have 3 days in a row. I go.
So it just kind of varies week to
Yep,
week.
depends when they could fit me in.
That's awesome. How did you do any chicken tending today?
I did do some chicken tending.
Did you get them extra crispy, original recipe?
Nah, we had very small little chicks today that came in Wednesday.
So you got some chickens
Oh,
brought in.
that was fun, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Did you miss all the vaccination and all that, or did they not do that yet?
Not yet. They're very young.
Oh, all right.
Hey, real quick, before I get into my week, we are recording this and hoping to get this up to our YouTube channel that Ethan created. Ethan, what's the name of the YouTube channel you created?
It's called Fields and Four Wheels. I didn't put podcast because we plan on posting other videos. Like I want to post, we do a lot of these riding trips, and we're trying to get hooked up with some cameras and stuff so you can watch. If you're into that and want to see all that, you'll be able to see all that. And I think when it's farming season, we'll be posting videos of farming.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So we'll see how this goes. We won't be able to edit as much until we figure out how this all falls.
Yeah, we're not too computer savvy
So I will.
over here.
Let's talk about my week. So we talked about the YouTube channel. We talked about your guys' week. So let me talk about my week. So we did this podcast last Friday, and I beelined out of here. I went up and seen my fiance, and then I was up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, headed to the airport. And this time I flew to Illinois, and I had a layover in
Detroit?
No, this time it was Chicago O'Hare. That is a huge airport.
Is it?
So I had a 2-hour layover, and I'm thinking, I could edit the podcast in 2 hours. No. I sat down on my 2-hour layover, and it just took forever. But I edited a little bit there, and then I flew into Illinois, and I went out down to Latham, Illinois to visit some of our friends. And while I was talking to our friends there in Latham, they're like, they heard about the podcast, they want to know a little bit more, and they're like, we should get on the podcast.
Oh, imagine that. That'd
So-
be a good podcast
A
right
very
there.
good
Those guys.
So for the listeners,
That'd have to be a long episode too. Like that wouldn't be a 30-minute episode. That'd be like an hour episode.
that would be our episode. So there seemed to be game. We're just gonna have to figure out logistics and how we can get them on. I think it'd be more fun if they were here to do a
Definitely.
podcast. We may be able to do like a phone-in part of it, but it wouldn't be as cool for anybody that's watching because they wouldn't be
able to see 'em.
They won't be able to see them. So that was interesting. So I flew into Bloomington, Illinois airport, small airport. You get off the plane and you look, you got like four concourses or 4 terminals, and you can look and you're like, oh, right there's security. Oh, right there's the bathroom. Oh, right there. It is a small airport. I think they got 8 terminals there that's all visible. If you stand at the top, you can see the whole kit and caboodle. So I flew in there, and every time I fly into Bloomington, this is like my second time flying in there, and then the other time that I've been out there, I had to stop at Circle H, the Western store, in Wapella, Illinois. Stopped in there, and it is, if anybody's familiar, local that's listening, it's kind of like the Mitchell's Western store that we have up in Auburn, on steroids.
Oh,
I
Lord.
was looking at hats, and they had 2 walls of just cowboy hats, and they had 3 walls of ball caps, jeans,
You get a hat?
boots. I did. You saw that. I picked up an Ariat hat, like a purple one up there. So that was a nice one. That was a Richardson 112. I think we picked up. 'Cause remember, you and I had talked earlier in the week about different hats, and I was able to get a Richardson one as well. So stopped there. Got to my buddy's house. I'm gonna give Evan a shout out. Evan and Savannah. Appreciate you guys. The hospitality let me stay there. Obviously, Elliot and Alicia, that was a fun time. And shout out to your mom and the kids because I had a lot of fun there, and you guys are great hosts. Got in there. I had to finish editing the podcast. I'm like, Evan's like, we gotta go. I'm like, I need 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes. So I will admit, if the last podcast wasn't 100% great, I sped through that one. So because there were some things standing between the podcast and some brewskis, and sometimes we just go with that. So
Yeah, quickly get this done so we can get on with it.
it just, to be honest, I thought I could have got it done at the airport, but I just, and shame on me. I want to make sure we get a good podcast out to everybody. And so if it wasn't where it should have been, that's on me. I was in a hurry.
So what was the whole reason for going down there?
Well, I had to be in Indianapolis on Monday. I was at a 2-day, I would say, pretty intense agronomy pro ag class that I took. So I thought, I got to be in Indianapolis on Monday. Let's fly into Illinois on Saturday, and then I didn't have to be there till later on Monday night. So I rented a car, drove down to them, and went there. So, but we did the pro ag, and I learned some stuff that probably the rest of us should know.
Well, why didn't you invite us? I mean, where was our invite?
I did invite 2 other partners. It did cost a few bucks, but it was during the work week, and it just didn't really fit. But no, I would have I think that the next one, if we get one up this way, I reached out to guys and they're debating whether we can get a pro ag here in New York, but it was worth the money that I paid to go there because the knowledge that came out of it was awesome. So
That's good.
cool.
yeah, so while you guys were here working, I was there learning.
Yep, we got how many loads out of the grain bin while he was gone?
Shoot, we did 1, 2, 3.
Three loads
Three
out of
loads?
the grain bin?
3 loads out, shoveling and sweeping, and you weren't
Yeah.
around for any of that.
Shoveled 3 roofs off. I don't know where you were.
I was working.
Luckily, a load of corn got me and Abby on finishing off one of the roofs.
Yeah, then I went and did another.
Wow.
Well, no, I'm sorry I missed that. We did load on the load. What is it?
Yesterday?
Yeah,
Yesterday we
Thursday.
loaded on.
Thursday we loaded the load out, so that was good. We filled that contract. I think that load was going to a different egg farm, not the egg farm you work at. So
That's cool.
that is awesome. So, last week we talked a little bit or more. I think the episode was geared towards Angelo and a little bit of his farming and a little bit of ATVing and things. So I thought, since I spent 2 days learning and educating myself while eating a great lunch, I tell you, if nothing more, they put on a good spread. So I ate very well. Let's see, we had chicken, mashed potatoes, things like that. So I thought maybe I'd share a little bit, if you want to know a little bit about what I learned.
I guess I want to learn a little bit.
I guess if you really just want to talk, you go for it. I guess we can learn a thing or two today.
I don't have to talk. What do you guys want to talk about today?
I don't know. We want to talk about eggs.
We gotta put what Josh learned out there a little bit. I feel like.
I think it'd be useful,
I
if we got
For
any other
other
farmers
that are
listening. I don't know who listens. I don't know if
Yeah.
we got other farmers listening, but if they were to, it'd be good information for them.
I think so. When I think if this podcast is Fields and Four Wheels, if we got some information, I'd love to get it out to people and have people, respond, questions, things like that. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question. We're gonna kind of make this interactive. Again, it's cool. We're videoing this.
First time videoing. So it's a little different, you gotta remember that we're getting video recorded over here.
So let me ask you guys: if you went out to the cornfield or the bean field and you went out there and spread 100 pounds of whatever fertilizer, do you guys know how much fertilizer would actually end up in a certain area?
I don't know for exact. You spread it on there, you figure everything's covered.
Well,
That's what you would hope.
you
Well,
would
that's
like
what
to
you're
think
hoping
that.
for, that's
But
what
let
you're
me-
thinking.
This is something I learned, and let me bring this into perspective. So, obviously the video is going, and if I was to go out there and I was to spread 100 pounds of DAP, MAP, or any other dry broadcast fertilizer, potash, things like that, and I know there might be some listeners wondering, what the heck is DAP, MAP? Let's just say I was to go out there and spread 100 pounds of fertilizer. So I go out there and spread 100 pounds of fertilizer, 100 pounds of fertilizer per acre.
Yep.
In that 1 acre, if you were to spread the 100 pounds and you go and take a measurement and you measure a 10.5 square
So
box.
10.5 by 10.5.
Yep, 10.5 by 10.5, 10.5. And do you know how much of those, if it's a dry spread, you're gonna have
Little balls.
Little balls. So you know how many balls would be in a 10 by 10?
2, 3. Well, you gotta think it's a 10 by 10.
It's one. It is one granular of fertilizer in a 10.5 by 10.5 square inches.
That's quite a big area for just having in one.
Yeah. So, let me do you one better. If you went out and spread, let's go and spread 200 pounds of this dry broadcast fertilizer on there.
Yep.
What do you think you get on that one?
You gotta at least have 3, 2, 1.
That's
Well,
what you
it's gotta
would
be
hope.
at least you're spreading 200. You're spreading 100. Pound more an acre.
Well, you actually get another one granular every 5.5 square inches of soil.
Jeez.
So if you think about it, anybody listening, take a tape measure and do a
5 by 5.
5 inch by 5 inch square.
You're
Which
getting
is
one single.
one singular on the 200. So my thought is where's the rest going?
For real. It seems
Well,
like a waste of money.
Well, I'm no expert, but that was some interesting things, and we talked about that. I think a few of us had conversations at the farm, like, what are we doing? I mean, are we wasting a lot broadcasting? And I would tell any of our listeners, if you're out there broadcasting fertilizer, you're wasting your money. It's not the way to go. There's gotta be other ways, so, that's it.
Yeah, definitely. You never think about it, but you
No,
say that.
it's just, so we've been farming, we started this operation in '07, and, we've gone to some trainings, but I have no idea what the heck. I mean, I do, but I don't, and this was an eye-opener for everybody, so I thought it was cool. Let's talk about sugar.
Sugar. Yeah, you can stop now. I don't think nobody wants to listen to that.
All right.
Don't quit your day job.
So
Yeah,
do you know
no.
how many pounds of sugar a corn plant needs to make one bushel?
How many pounds of sugar? 10 pounds.
Yes, what do you think?
20.
100.
You only.
Yeah, you see my notes.
You
So,
see
yes,
the notes.
a corn
So
plant
you know
needs
the answers.
approximately 100 pounds of sugar to make one bushel. So you do the math if you want to make 150, 160, 180, 200 bushel corn, how much sugar that plant's going to need. So, what about soybeans?
200.
How many pounds of sugar does a
100.
soybean need?
Oh, it needs 100 pounds.
No, it needs 300. Are you getting?
Jesus.
I just took a guess on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that was something. Obviously, sugar is very important to the production, and
Which I never realized. That not. So you came and told us about this. We already kind of know about this, but now we're trying to tell everybody about it, and that's how she knows all the answers. But when you first told me this, I never thought about sugar.
Yeah.
Them needing sugar.
Yeah, and so you think about, so obviously the corn plant or the soybean plant cannot uptake sugar through the roots. And
Mhm.
so the reason or the way that they uptake sugar is through microbes in the soil. So what we do is we feed the microbes the sugar and they get on a sugar high, and then the plants take them up and it just gives them some extra sugar that they can have.
Okay.
Obviously photosynthesis in the process of the plant makes sugar, but let's feed them a little bit more, you know what I mean? Makes sense. So, there was something I was thinking about, and I think I put my notes. So if you took 1 teaspoon of soil, 1 teaspoon, so it's not a tablespoon like a spoon, but a teaspoon, how many microbes do you think are in 1 tablespoon soil? Where am I going with this? I'm getting all mixed up. How many microbes do you think are in 1 tablespoon?
Microbes. What's a micro? Microbes like a
They are
tiny little
they,
thing.
oh,
There's got to be like a million.
yeah, there's a million.
Million.
So they're almost, you can't see them with the naked eye, but anyways, that was cool, so. Do you guys wanna know anything else I learned, or do you wanna talk about?
What about these Y drops you learned about?
Yeah, we were talking about them wide drops.
So obviously people are, liquid is a good way to get nutrients to your crop. And there's a lot of guys that are running wide drops. But a lot of guys are running just drop tubes. And you got a 30-inch row of corn and you're dropping nitrogen at knee high or whenever you're going out. And that nitrogen is landing in the middle of the row. And it's fine, it's getting out there, but it could take up to 10 to 15 days for that nitrogen to get where you need it. But if we go out there with a Y drop, that takes that, instead of dropping in the center of the row, it splits it and throws it closer to the,
Which that would make more sense theoretically, I would feel like. The closer it is to the plant, the better outcome.
what do you think, Ethan?
Wow, clearly, I mean, if you got drop tubes, you're running in between the rows. You're putting it in between the row.
Well, if it's 30-inch row, you're running 15, so it's got 15 inches on each side.
Exactly.
It's not getting to the plant as fast either.
So if you were to run a wide spread,
The
you're
Y
gonna
drop.
put it.
Yeah, and so a Y drop is you think of a
Oh, a
Y,
Y
it
drop.
comes down in the center.
Yeah.
So this is 15 and it kind of, kind of spreads out. So
But it
that's
makes
something,
sense.
that's something cool. So we talked about phosphorus. Obviously, some of the main ingredients that corn needs are N, P, and K. So N is nitrogen, P is phosphorus, K is potassium. And sometimes we get going early on, and it takes till the soil temperature to get to 65 degrees before the phosphorus becomes available in the soil for the plant to take. So you want to be careful if you're going out into the soil before 65 if there's no phosphorus available for that plant. So there is a way to do that. We can add some phosphorus a little closer to the seed to get it going. So that's interesting. Excuse me. What else? What else you guys?
You got anything you want to I mean, I think we kind of covered.
We can tell them about the toolbar we're gonna
Oh
build
yeah,
for our
what
planter.
we're thinking about doing with it. Well, do we want to put that out there? Hang on. I don't want to be giving away our ideas right away.
I guess that.
I know. Let's hold on it. Let's see how our ideas work, and if they work, and we can tell them about it. And
Yeah,
if it's not gonna work, then it's.
Well, we might have selling some seed here.
Yeah, we're gonna know a little bit more about that here in the coming weeks, so we'll get to that soon.
We'll know.
Something else real quick, and I'll get off of this about that you guys don't know. So we've tried, for some of the farmers out there, we've tried foliar feeding before, and it was put down at a chemical and fertilizer company, and they're like, oh yes, sir, just it's gonna be X, Y, Z per acre. We'll go out there and just blow it out. And I learned something very, very important about foliar feeding. So, if you guys want to know something real quick, now I'll make this. So, if you're going to go out and foliar feed, there is like a list of 5 things that we need to make sure it's there. It's only effective if it's done at the right times. Otherwise, it's a waste of money. So, with foliar feeding, we can kind of go out there and just like spoon feed crops when they need it. Usually, you can add an adjuvant to it to help get sucked in, but it needs to be between 65 and 85 degrees. If it's lower than 65 degrees or higher than 80, there is no sense of going out there and putting the foliar feed on. It's not going to work. Just want people to know that it's not going to work. Needs to be humidity best when it's greater than 70%, and preferably no rain within 24 to 48 hours after you're putting the foliar on. And obviously, we don't want to foliar feed drought stress crops.
Mm-hmm.
But when I follow that up, obviously on the sprayer, if you're going to do some foliar feeding, we need low volume at high pressure. So you need at least a 65 psi on your sprayer, but the best would be close to 85. So you're pushing a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
and ideally less than 10 gallons an acre, maybe 8. And again, foliar feeding is not great when you're trying to put herbicides or something else in the tank. It's just best to put a foliar feeder in there. So for people that don't know what a foliar feeder is some nutrients you can put in the tank. After the crop gets up out of the ground, you can kind of spray on the leaves, and hopefully the leaves take it up. So learning that there was obviously different stages for the soybeans and different stages for the corn to uptake it. So very important on corn. The first stage would be V3 to V5. Second stage would be V8 to V12, and third stage would be R2 to R4. And everybody's looking at me like, what are you talking about? And we'll get into that in the next podcast about the different stages of corn, because I'd like to share that with these kids here, because you probably
Definitely,
don't.
because I have not a clue what you are talking about.
Me
And,
neither. I'm just listening.
So, and again on soybeans, your first foliar feed should be between V3 and V5 and R3 and R4. So those were some things I learned that I wanted to put out there to you guys. And then that's awesome, because the next episode we can get into talking about the different stages of the corn and the soybean growth, that you guys can say, hey, now I know what he's talking about when he says V3, V5, V8, V12, and things like that.
This would be great in the future, Ethan, too. When we take over the farm, and we can listen back and have all this knowledge.
Yeah, when that day comes, and we'll be listening back, trying to figure out things, and that's what he was talking about. Now we know what he was talking about.
Good.
Yeah, so we actually met with a guy today. I learned out there that dry broadcasting fertilizer is not ideal, and we're going to try a couple different things.
Well, especially in the spring that we have here, it all depends on how. You never know; it can switch like that, and
Yeah, no, even like last year, we dropped some fertilizer, and then it took us a
got
bit to
swept
get.
away.
It does. They joked about all the, and it's a true story. At the mouth of the Mississippi, there's issues with so many nitrates in the water. But where does all that nitrates in that water come from? Is all the runoff from them. So this class is teaching us, let's not just throw fertilizer out there. Let's band it. Let's put it closer to the plant. Let's make it more, let's work on utilization of that. And with with that, I think I said before, but broadcasting, you're only getting 10 to 20% of your nutrients of 100%.
And it'll cut back how much you're using, how much you're spending on this,
Is-
all these
That's a big
products.
thing too. I mean, you spend, as you were saying, with that dry, you spend fertilizer.
Yep, you're, just
You're-
you're throwing away a lot of it.
Now that you put that into perspective, in a 10 by 10, you're only putting down one drop. Well, then what's the point of even spreading it?
Yeah,
And it's a lot of money that's just being wasted sometimes.
you're
At the end of the day, you're just throwing money.
throwing money
You might as
away.
well, you might as well go out there and just spread your money across the field.
Yeah. And that's just something, and again, I am never too old to learn, and I'm hoping to this knowledge that I grab and some of this information I grab, I can pass it on to you, and I can pass it on to our listeners. Anybody's got questions, concerns, want to call me out on the questions, please don't be afraid to ask. I will answer them best we can. I am no expert. I am just knowing that I am in the process of trying to get this operation more efficient, and I'd like to be able to share that with whoever that wants to listen, whoever wants to talk. We'll get, our goal is to get their operation efficient. So
Yep.
yeah. What? So we talked a little bit about that, gave some knowledge. Did you guys do any riding or anything this weekend with the 4-wheelers?
I mean, Ethan got stuck.
Yeah, so I put on a new winch on my 4-wheeler and a new strap on the back, and I thought it was a good idea to go riding by myself with nobody around.
Where did you do this?
Monday?
Tuesday? Monday?
I'm pretty sure it's Monday.
Monday. So I go on back behind Abby's house here, and she's got a steep hill that we used to sled down as kids. So I go down to the hill, went down to the creek, looked at that, came back around, and I'm like, you know what? Let's see if I can make it up this hill. So I go down to the real bottom of it, and I go to start turning around, and I'm like, man, I really just sunk in right there, and I come to a stop. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send it right up this hill. And I go, and it just right into the ground, stuck.
Was that you coming from? Like you went down like.
I went down the hill,
Down.
went down over to the creek, and then I came back, and I was gonna go up the hill.
Up the hill. Did you cross the stream before?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
You got across the
So
stream.
so you know how like, when we go down the hill, it comes to that bend, but if you keep going straight, it really it kind of has that drop off.
Yeah.
I was down in there. So then I'm like, I call around, nobody's really home from work.
What time was this?
Right when I got out of work. I literally got home at 4:30, jumped on my 4-wheeler and went riding because it was so nice and nobody else wanted to. So I said, you know what, I'm going.
I ran to the store and I just got back and I put my groceries inside. I said, I gotta go pull Ethan out because he got stuck behind me.
Well, at this point, when she's about to do this, so my winch, we just put this new winch line on, and we had the winch outside. We were using jumper cables so we could keep the winch out and reeled up real nice in the winch. So it looked real nice and it would come out real nice. So I'm like, I really don't want to pull this out. This is the last thing I want to do is pull my winch out. So then it got to the point where like, all right, I got to pull my winch out. And I seen a tree, and I thought I could reach this tree. I pulled this winch all the way out, and I had to have been, I don't know, 2 foot from this tree actually reaching it. I'm like, are you kidding me? So then I went over directly to the right side of the machine. There was a smaller tree. Wrapped it around that, yanked the 4-wheeler onto the right side, and was able to get up and out. Then I get off the machine. I start reeling my winch in real nice again, and I go again, and it just sinks. And then I send another video to the group chat, stuck again. But after working it back and forth, I was able to got out of there.
Did you have to go down and get a map? No.
I was walking to my enclosed trailer where I keep my 4-wheeler in so the mice and stuff don't get it in the wintertime. And he sends a Snapchat. I'm unstuck. To our group chat, I'm like, I was just getting there to you.
Well,
Whatever, I'm glad I didn't have to get mine out because I'm sure I would have got stuck and then we would have been stranded.
you got to pull me out tonight. We got a snow pile. Abby had to pull out her one 4-wheeler to get pressure washed. And I was like, you know what? Well, you got the pressure washer out, might as well wash mine off. So we got a snowbank right out in front of the shop. And the kids were sliding down it. It was the last weekend they were sledding down it.
Sunday.
And it, with the warm weather, everything is just slush now. So I gotta go.
Or a sheet of
Ice.
ice.
So I gotta go up it, and then I get stuck. So your little brother actually told me out with your 4-wheeler. And then I decided, you know what, let's try it from the other side. So I hammer right up it, go straight up, comes up in the air, and just sinks right down. And I was just stuck. And then I end up, the 4-wheeler couldn't get me, so I had to get my truck out and yank it off the hill with my truck.
Yep, and
That's
I
how-
almost took my dad out of the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, I yanked it once, and it kind of came, so he walked over there to get on it. Just before he got on it, I yanked it again, and then it popped right up onto there and came right down the hill.
there.
But for 8 years old, I'd say my little brother did pretty good.
He did pretty good on that first winch.
I
The second
think
winch,
so.
it was sitting, he was towing the entire four-wheeler.
It was sunk right down and right up to the frame.
Yeah, you weren't. Good old F-150 yanked you right on there, though.
I didn't do any riding. Did you guys do any? You said that was one night was Tuesday, then you did some over the weekend prior to that, but nothing.
We were gonna go Saturday. Our plan was to go Saturday night. Then we shoveled 2 roofs and did some tent on a neighbor's truck and decided, yeah, it's time to go home. We were all tired at 9:30 at night. We were all ready for bed at 9:30 at night on a Saturday.
Yeah, so for some of our listeners, they ended up having to shovel a couple roofs because we got a lot of that snow.
A lot of snow,
back
and it was
up.
starting to warm up, so the snow was getting heavy, and it was just better off getting snow off the
A
roofs.
lot of roofs to the north of us have collapsed.
Actually, yeah, quite a bit.
A
I've
lot
seen
of them. A lot of garages. There's one 5 minutes away from here, I'd say, that collapsed.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you guys say? You said that one up the road here that collapsed. There was another one too, right?
Yep.
Where was that one?
I'm not exactly sure. I know the onion farm on 104 almost to Oswego, one of their barns collapsed.
Oh wow! All right. Geez.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Um,
Oh, we got that farm right up the road there, Shirt Lifts. One of their barns collapsed.
Oh, I didn't know about this one.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah. So we had a couple. So we had a couple farms. One farm nearby, and then a residence nearby that had some roof collapse. So maybe it was a good idea you guys went out there. And,
I'm surprised our old shop's still holding up.
We have gotten lucky, I'd say so.
I'd say so too. I thought we were going to shovel that, and I was not looking forward to
I was
it.
hoping you guys were gonna go shovel that because I was kind of nervous. So
Nah,
kept
I would have
an
been
eye on it
nervous.
all weekend.
I would have been nervous when I seen the roof fall in. Then I would have been nervous. Until then, I was not looking forward to shoveling that, and I was like, yeah, it looks good, looks good, looks good.
yeah, you think it's fine if they keep watching it. So
Until it comes down.
I know you guys said it was kind of warm here. It was. So I got up there Saturday. I finished up the editing the podcast, and then we went over to one of their buddies' shops, and we're shooting the breeze, having a couple adult beverages, and I stepped out, and the sun was just shining. It was beautiful out there. And then on Sunday, it was Sunday. We went out, and it was like 60 degrees. The sun was shining.
Oh my god, I
I
can
wish
only
I
dream
wish.
of that right now.
I'm at the point where once the snow is gone, I'd be so happy with no more snow. I mean, I was loving it because we were actually getting the winter this year, but now I'm to the point where, you know, I'm over it.
I'm done with it.
It is. So it was funny. So it was 60 and sunny. We were out there. So they have, real quick, they have, I don't know how to say, slot machines in the bars in Illinois. And so we were at a bar and I was waiting for our food. I'm like, I'll take $20. I threw $20 and boom, I won $88. So I'm $68 in a matter of 2 seconds out there. But I was telling you it was 60 degrees and the sun was blowing. The next day we pulled some soil samples. That ground was still very tough. Very tough.
We should mention how we made a mistake on our soil
Oh,
samples.
let's talk about how you sent me and Abby out in the fields to do our soil samples and made us do it completely wrong.
So you're absolutely right.
Hey, can we talk about? Hang
We
on.
did a
Let's go
lot of
back.
hard
Let's go
work.
back to when we did this. So it was me and Abby. My dad told me all about it. Was telling us what to do and whatnot. And he sent us out in the field. So we're out there. We got this hand auger. We're doing it, putting in the buckets. We did 3 fields. We did that 30-acre field. We did
We did
whatever.
a lot
So
of
we did this, and we get back to the shop. He goes, "Oh, that wasn't so bad, was it?" As you were sitting here in the shop doing nothing besides drinking your favorite beverage.
So
And just hanging out.
And oh, that wasn't bad, was it, guys? Yeah, you weren't.
well, so for our listeners, my father had an old, probably an iron auger, hand auger. Just go down there and did it. Well, I learned that obviously you don't want an iron auger because you're gonna
You're
have
gonna put iron into your soil.
And then they were talking about us using our hands and putting it in the bags. We don't have to touch it with our hands. So what I did grab though, I learned the training. I did grab
We got
a
that bucket right behind
collect
us.
and go bucket.
Why don't you get that out? I mean, if
I'm
anybody's
gonna
watching on
put
YouTube,
it out
you'll be
right
able to
now
see it.
so you guys
So-
can see.
She moved the PodTrack P8 zoom that we're using here, but this collect and go bucket, she can get it out without a store. It was $60, collect and go, a little bucket there, and it has a spout, a little hole in there, right? And it comes with an auger. I think you can pull the auger out. Oh, she has it.
So let me see
You
that.
attach that to a drill, so there's an
So
auger.
right here you got your, that the one your DeWalt drill with Milwaukee drill, and then in your bucket as you can see, there is a hole in the bucket. So what you do is you set this bucket on the ground. It's got two handles, so push on firm. You firmly push this on the ground. You'll take your auger, go right through that hole, go all the way down, and then as you're pulling up, you keep it going like you're drilling down into the ground, and it'll shake all the dirt off into the bucket. At no point in time are you touching this dirt. It all just automatically goes into the bucket, and it all just works out.
And so something I learned real quick was that, you know, you get out there in some of the wetter soils, take a little pan,
Yep.
and you can spray the auger bit, and it'll help.
It'll help it all slide off.
It'll help the dirt slide off if we got wet dirt. Because right now, obviously I'm going to use some Midwest lads out there, but we're going to do some more soil testing, and I want to get it done as soon as we get to the ground. And so we're going to get a little wet soil. We're going to make sure that we maybe have to spray it, but they said, yeah, spray it with a little pan, put it in there. That's awesome. It was $60.
I was gonna ask how much it was.
After
so-
doing what we did, you know, I mean, Abby held the buckets and I did the hand auger. You know, if we were
to around.
and drove me around, after doing it, that is gonna make everything 10 times easier.
Oh my gosh, it is.
It's gonna be so much quicker, and it's not gonna be.
It's to go back to the fact of, you know, talking about these things I gave you guys. The only way we know what we need or what our soil needs is running soil. And if you're not running soil plants out there, you are in the dark and you are blind and just going around. And so it is very important, I think, because it's like you go to the doctor, right? What do you do when you go to the doctor?
They pull blood.
They do a blood sample, right?
Blood
And they say,
sample.
hey, this is what's going on. So let's relate pulling soil to understanding what's going on in the field. So
I feel like if you're not pulling a soil sample on your fields, you don't know what's going on. You don't know how much you have to put down. You don't know anything about your. You don't know anything about your soil, and you need to know what your ground. You need to know about your
Sometimes you
ground.
gotta spread lime and stuff on it.
And so I was going to go with that. So I learned too that sometimes you got some low pH soils, and if you're stuck, I'm not saying stuck. I kind of put it out there that you're stuck planting soybeans in some low pH soil. You know, maybe change up your rotation, but if you're trying to stick to the rotation in your field as low pH, we can add a little calcium. We got a calcium product that I've worked with that I know that you can add either in furrow or near the seed that will actually get that seedling going. It's just a temporary fix. Obviously, you still need to spread the line. But if you put that calcium in there, that'll get that seedling going and it'll help with a low pH soil. So that's just something, again, it's a Band-Aid. So, yeah. So with that, we are getting close to the
End of our episode
end
here.
of this one. Was there anything else that we talked about that we missed, that I skipped, or that you guys want to know?
I don't think so. I think we covered pretty much
You know,
everything.
probably by the time we get done with this, we'll be sitting back talking about it, and we'll be like, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. But hey, just wait for the next episode because we will end up talking about it.
I know that we will want to keep talking, and we want to talk about pile of things. So for you guys who don't know, we got some distractions in the background on the first ever.
Yeah,
We are recording this, and I mean, people just keep showing up. Everybody's, I mean, we got people having a good
We
time.
need to put an
I
eye
got my little brother making a bunch
I don't
of
know- I don't
funny
know what's
faces,
going on. We
doing
got
a
our
lot of
uncle
funny
over
stuff,
here.
and I cannot help but laugh at it.
I know he's talking about a toolbar that we might be looking up to. So that is a good thing that we're going to get working on this year. We're going to try to design a toolbar to help with some of the processes that I've learned at this training. And once we get working on it, I think we'll talk a little bit about it and share with our listeners kind of some of the things we're doing.
But I feel like we need to actually start doing it. And
Oh, absolutely, no.
Because right now we can tell you what we're thinking, but it's by the time we do this, everything's gonna change.
No, absolutely.
Because
As
it's
we're
just,
working on it, we can take pictures.
you know, it'll be on
stuff like that.
Facebook, maybe even a YouTube video of us working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that.
Especially, I posted that picture of us Sunday loading.
Yeah, Abby took a picture of you.
Well,
just
I had
shuffling
to
some
think
corn.
like Josh, because Josh wasn't around.
Somebody had to think of it. Yeah.
I was busy trying to get an education, and it was well worth it. So,
And I agree. You know, you brought a lot of good things to the table that we need to consider and start
And
doing.
you learn that you can count on me and Ethan to handle things here around the farm.
It got a little chaotic. I got the tractor. It took me about 5 times to get backed up to the auger the one day, and that was fun. quite
Well,
mad.
I just suggest the best way to do it. I don't know. Like I told you guys, got to drive around, but maybe that would.
Hey, well, we got it, you know.
It worked.
Me and Abby got it.
It would.
We got it done with.
It would. So.
You can count on us.
Yeah. So everybody, questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook. We're gonna have now the YouTube.
Now
So you can
YouTube,
always-
Fields and Four Wheels on YouTube, no podcast. It's the Fields with the @ sign and Four Wheels.
Fields and Four Wheels.
Fields and Four Wheels.
Yeah. And then we are on Facebook at Fields and Four Wheels Podcast. You can find us on there. You can also follow the farm at J as in Josh, as Nick, T as in Todd Farm, J&T Farms. And yeah.
I think tonight, or maybe tomorrow, whenever this episode comes out, I will also post the link to the YouTube video.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you'll
So
be
if you
able
want
to,
to see us, gonna take a look at what
you know,
we're
if you can't find us on YouTube, you'll be able to go to our Facebook page, and I'm sure it's easier to find a Facebook page than it is to find the YouTube page. So the link will be on there, and if you want to listen and watch, then you can, or if you just want to listen, you know, we got Spotify, Apple Music,
Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon.
Amazon. So we're on all of them. I'm sure everybody's got at least one of them. Most people
Absolutely.
do,
Okay. So,
All right.
with that being said, kids, I am going to say peace out.
See you guys next week.
Big E's, I know.